Hey fam, welcome back to the channel. Don't mind the wind or the dogs barking or the cars passing by. It's probably the only quiet place right now. Boys are playing Xbox inside, so you know how that is. And we got another little one running around, probably messing with her brothers, but it's life, right? So I just wanted on here today and just let you guys know what we're going to be talking to you guys about. We're going to be doing Q&As. If you like what you hear, please share with others. We want to encourage each other. We want to be there for one another. Especially, we want to help marriages grow and relationships just, grow better from our hearts, from all the things that helped us. We want to be able to share that with you guys. Anyways, all right, guys, let's get to it. All right. We're laughing because we literally did the whole question of what we're going to do right now, and we didn't record. So this is take 2. So the question was, one of the somebody on Instagram on the stories asked, why get married? Okay, so I'll go first. To me, we come from a blended family. He was previously married. I had a fiance before for I don't know how many years, and there was never no commitment. So I can see both sides. And the difference that I saw from both sides is, and he'll kind of touch on it, he has a really good way to describe things always. I'm more of like the emotional part. He's more of like, he expresses things like with a picture and he colors it and he draws it. That's what it is in my mind when he talks.
And she exaggerates.
I do.
Obviously.
I'm a storyteller. I am. So one of the things that I noticed is that there was infidelity in this relationship, meaning no ring. There was very easily, I felt disposable, I guess you can say. At any moment, you could say, I pick something different. I don't think I want to be with you. Or just the ability of feeling unstable. Now that I have a marriage, to him, he committed and he said, I am willing to devote myself to you and only you. I am willing to be with you for the rest of my life and pick you and only you. And you can say, well, this person also did to me and we're not married. True, you're right. But this is the crazy part. That when you're in a marriage or you're in a relationship, okay, for the first 5 years, the beginning is lovey-dovey. It's like, oh my God, we're so in love. The first 3 years, then after, it's like the love goes away. Hunger starts coming in through the window because bills aren't getting paid. We lose jobs, blah, blah, blah. And then what happens? Then if you're not married, you're stuck because why? You committed. But if you didn't get this, then it's very easy to say like, well, I don't really have feelings anymore for you. Like, this is too hard. And you can easily bow out gracefully, but you can bow out, or in a mean way, but you can bow out. So when this is basically, to me, a, how can you say, like a symbol of dedication, a symbol of commitment, of devotion for somebody's life, and the responsibility that you're going to have to take care of somebody, to be there for somebody, whether you like it or not, whether you have a happy day or not, whether you're sad or mad, whether you want to or not, but because you made a commitment to them in front of people, you gave your word. And to me, that's one of the reasons why. I don't know. He explained it a lot better. Go ahead, babe.
Well, I just, trying to keep it strictly about just marriage, which is difficult because it's complex. There are a lot of elements to it. Just the emotional part, the physical part, but there's also a contractual part of marriage. And if you want to strip away the ceremonial part, strip away the emotional part and all that other stuff, then it is also a contract, and a contract that's binding, and a contract that has legal ramifications if you break it. And so those things are also important in a commitment. And let's say, you want to go and you want to buy a car, or you want to buy a house. Chances are they're not just going to let you drive the car off the lot, or they're not going to let you just move your stuff into the house and not commit to making payments. No, there's a level of commitment that goes with that contract, and the contract is saying that these two parties are in agreement that there are going to be payments made, and there's going to be a mutual understanding that moving forward, if I'm the buyer, I'm going to make payments, and if I don't, there's going to be ramifications for that. Now, in a marriage, it is a contract as well, and at the same time, it's a way for me to show that there's a level of commitment that I am now dedicating myself to her, and vice versa. And so I do understand where people come from, where they say, okay, well, I don't need a piece of paper to tell me that, which you don't. However, the way that we're designed, the way that we're built, we as humans, we deep down inside, we yearn to be loved, and we yearn to be in a relationship where we could be treated how we want to be treated. And so I, as a man in the relationship, maybe the biggest deal for me, and the way that I would express myself to her emotionally, is through intimacy. Okay, and the intimacy for me maybe has more to do with the physical part of it, but in the act, if it's in the act of intimacy, it allows me to experience an emotional connection with her. Whereas maybe on her end, her connection with me is not physical as much as it is emotional. And for her, she wants to know that she's, she has sense of security, whether that means financially for some people, or maybe that's emotionally for some people. She's expressed before that her dad abandoned her at one time in her life. And so for me to express commitment to her and to be here for her emotionally allows her to feel safe.
Yeah.
And so that's something that we've come to learn about each other in the context of our marriage. Now, if in our relationship, we have it emotionally and physically worked out, where she's able to kind of access my heart by being intimate with me, okay, and that's a way for her to kind of satisfy me in our relationship. She satisfies me physically, it opens my heart to be connected with her emotionally, which satisfies her emotionally, okay, and vice versa. By me being there for her emotionally, it allows her to have a desire to want to be intimate with me. And so we've kind of got this balance going. Now, I would never expect for somebody outside the context of marriage, or I should say outside the context of that commitment or that contract, so to speak, to just go around and say, okay, well, now the best way for me to get what I want from her is to manipulate the emotional part so that I can get the physical part. Or vice versa, a female to say, okay, well, I'm just going to go manipulate the physical part to get what I want emotionally from him. What that ends up doing is that you end up with broken people.
Yeah.
And I say that from personal experience. She knows that obviously we were in a blended family, so I've been married before. And in between my last marriage and my marriage with Vanessa, I was bouncing from relationship to relationship. And so I've been in that position where there was a lack of commitment, and I always ended up empty. I always was left wanting, and so it's not just to be able to say, oh, we can live together. Yeah, that's true. I can declare my love for her and commitment without a piece of paper. Yes, that's true. But us as humans, we like to be held, and I can't think of the right word, but we like to be
held accountable.
Yes, we need accountability in the relationship. Okay, so by not having that type of commitment or that contract, there's nothing obligating me to commit to her. If I want to walk away one day, there's no reason why I can't. Just because we're living together doesn't mean anything. Just because we're sleeping in the same bed doesn't really mean much.
Yeah.
But when there's a contract involved, okay, it means that there's a level of commitment that is going to, whether the love is high through the honeymoon stage or low when we're going through some things, that level of commitment is unemotional, and it's there, and it allows there to be a constant throughout the relationship in the good and the bad. And so if we were to include now the ceremonial part of it, and we start looking at the language that comes into the ceremonial piece that comes during the forming of the contract, right? If we're having the ceremony and I'm dedicating and declaring my love for her, and in doing so publicly, I'm rejecting all other women, and then I'm declaring to her that I'm going to love her and cherish her for better or worse, and richness or poor, and sickness and in hell till death do me part, or do us part. That's a whole new level of commitment.
Yeah.
Now, you can say those things without the contract, and I assure you they don't have the same meaning. And I don't want to offend anybody by this, but the truth of the matter is that if you have somebody that, let's say I'm going to go buy a car and I'm going to test drive it, and they're like, if you don't feel like it, just don't come back. If I can test drive any car I want and not come back, why would I? Why would I commit to making payments? And so there's usually this natural progression for things. And in the stereotypical sense of things, you would have your children be raised up by a mom and a dad in the same home, and they would have been nurtured and loved and cherished and fed and taken care of emotionally and physically and all those other things. And then they would leave the house when they would get married, okay, or go off to college or something. But let's stick back to the...
let me say something.
Yeah, go ahead.
So he was mentioning the part of where he was dating around. So we met in college. We were going to college, and I hated this guy. You can't see, but he has tattoos. And my mom was just like, no, you don't date anybody with tattoos. You don't date anybody that smokes. You don't date anybody that's saying bad words. He was all of that. Words. He was all of that. So what I mean that he just like, he would come to work, like not to work, to school with his scrubs all wrinkled, hungover, like, and I knew he was dating around. And I remember thinking like, dang, this guy is like, he's like funky. You know what I mean? Like, what the heck? But here I am like looking at him. And when I like started to get to know him, like he had a heart, like he had a good heart. He was a good guy. He was a lonely guy, but he was a good guy. So long story short, we started dating. Within 4 months, we started dating. I already had a kid. My son was 1.5 years. And I remember we were like thinking, like to move this forward. And he's like, like I want to get married, but like I need like 5-6 months. Like I need to get out of debt, like for real. And I'm just like, I'm not going to wait. And he's like, what? And I was like, I'm not waiting. Like, you have, how many months did I tell you? 3?
Yeah, we got married like 6 months later.
Yeah, so like, so it was in April when we started talking. And then I think by June, I was like giving him an ultimatum. And then in November, we were married. And we started dating in February. Like, and I already knew his situation. He had a good heart. He was a good guy. Like, all his circumstances, he was a good guy. But I also knew his history. So, like, no commitment. Like, the only thing that I was going to put myself for was heartache. So, and I knew that. And here we are 14 years later. He's been faithful all this time. So you can say, like, oh, it doesn't work. And I mean, God has a huge part to do with the faithful part. But, like, what is it? Like, our reality, like, it worked. And all the couples that we've talked to, that we worked with, marriage is, the commitment is big. For the couples that we've talked to, which are many that have not been married, they're not together anymore. And the ones that are married have struggled the same or even more, but they stuck it out because of marriage. So like we kind of have, like, how do you say, like when you have like a survey sheet, like,
we got a long rap
sheet. We got a long rap sheet.
Yeah, I do for sure.
But anyways, go ahead, babe.
So I'll just finish with this, and it may be a little controversial, but I really think that because of the lifestyles that we live now, fast pace, and we want instant gratification, and just all these things that now, so much in a hurry, that we don't really know how or take the time to appreciate the process that it takes to really get from dating to marriage. One of the funniest things that my kids and I have watched on TV is we like watching like Nat Geo and Shark Week and like all kinds of stuff like that, animals eating animals. And what's funny is when they have those scenes where like the animals are courting one another, and it's funny, but we laugh at it, but that's something that we miss now. Like we skip the courting phase. We just kind of like, I like you, you like me, let's do this thing.
Let's go have sex.
Excuse me. Maybe even that, maybe it's like it gets hot in the room and then you don't know what's going to happen. But so my point is that we don't take the time to really cherish and go through that process to court our mate. And so we don't have those steps. And so let's say now we have somebody that's moves out of the house and they just, you know what, it's cost effective. I'm going to go live with my boyfriend. It's going to work out well. We really love each other. It's really working out. And it might. And that's great.
Yeah.
But the issue is that now we're jumping forward and we're skipping over this natural process that we should take in order to get to know somebody, in order to hit that milestone and have marriage be a part of that. And so at the end of the day, you're worth it.
Yeah.
You know, if you're a girl or female or woman that is just like, man, how come I can't find a good man? Or how come it never works out for me? Everybody on Instagram has the perfect husband, and what about me? Like, forget about them. Like, don't even worry about that. It's not real, you know? And I'll just put it that way only because that's not your reality.
Yeah.
Like, in your reality, you are worth it. You are good enough. You are worth the fight. And more importantly, you're worth the wait.
Yeah.
And so, and the same thing on the other side, you know, for men, like, it has to be the person that's worth sacrificing for. And so if we're skipping all these things and we're just jumping straight into bed, we're jumping straight into living together, we're missing out on one of the most beautiful things that we have here on this earth. And that's just a moment and an opportunity for one man and one woman to dedicate themselves to one another in a way that it might have lost its meaning right now, but I assure you deep down inside, a woman wants to be cherished, to be treated like she's unique, like the finest gem, you know, that there's only one of a kind. Yeah. And one of the ways that a man, or vice versa, sometimes it's switched, that a man can express that to a woman is dedicating and committing himself in life and in love to his one and only. And it might sound very, you know, like a fairy tale, but that's part of where that comes from. Like, yeah. we want, you know, what happens when two women walk in the same room and they're wearing the same dress? Like, one of them's gonna die because only one can have that dress, you know? And because we want to know, or women want to know, that they're the only one, you know? Yeah. And so when a new iPhone comes out, or when the next car comes out, I gotta have it first because we want to be the first one. Like, there's just something in it for us to know that we're unique, or we're the only one with something. And so we satisfy all those things when we come together and commit to each other in marriage. And so no matter what you might think about marriage, you can live together.
Yeah.
You can be together, and you can be happy together. I would just say that you're missing out on a very deep emotional connection that is ingrained inside of us, in our heart, in the heart of a man and in the heart of a woman, to want to be a part of something that is bigger than you.
To belong.
To belong to something. And that's exactly what I felt when I was alone. When she made that comment that I was a lonely guy, it's not that I just wanted to be with anybody. It's that I wanted to belong to something that was bigger than me. And this creation of a family in our marriage, you know, it was a blended family immediately. Okay, and we had to learn a lot of things along the way.
That's video like 20, you know.
And so then there's this renewal, okay, and rebuilding and renewing of our hearts in the process. And so we just two broken people that are coming together in life and in love and in commitment, and we're just finding ways to make it work. Yeah. And so I just would encourage you, you know, whoever is listening, that you're worth the wait, you know. And if you're in it and you're like, man, what the hell did I do? Like, it's worth it. If you just work on it, work it out, just hold on. And there's more to come. If there's anybody that wants to go beyond that is just in it, I mean, let us know.
Yeah. But if you're in it and you're like, what the heck did I do? Just stay for video 2, 3, 4, and 5, and 6. It might go up to 100. I'm not sure.
Yeah. So I told her, like, she wanted to answer these questions. I'm like, man, it's going to be a really long video. So I apologize. I get to talking and it's just, I can't stop, but I'm really passionate. I really am.
Yeah.
I'm really passionate about this kind of stuff because there are so many broken people out there.
Yeah.
And there are so many people that are just trying to do their best to figure it out.
They just don't know how.
And that's where we come in. We're not licensed professionals. We don't have degrees in marital counseling or anything like that. This is just advice from two broken people that are figuring it out just like you. And we're taking what we've learned along the way through the hard knocks and through what we're trying to figure out through the hard knocks at the beginning of our marriage, because it was very difficult.
Yeah.
And where we're at now, we've had people that just really took the time to dedicate to speak life into our marriage, to really help us out along the way.
Kind of like coaching.
Yeah, totally like that. And so that's what we do for others. So
Yeah.
I hope this helps. You know, I really wish for the best for you guys. And if you need anything else or you have any other questions, let us know.
Yeah, put comments down below. And, you know, one of the things that, you know, he was mentioning about you giving up something, I was telling one of the girls one time, she was having a hard time in understanding, like, okay, if I just do move in with him, like, we're kind of debating. And I told him, like everything you have to offer, when you're even just you laying with somebody and caressing them and being with them in bed and even doing this right here is worth something. It's worth something. It's you, it's your body, it's your love. And it means something. And you being able to be there when they come from work, that is something. And that is something that you give to somebody that says, hey, I'm ready to devote myself to you. I'm ready to give myself to you, to commit myself to you. Those are all things that they're so valuable, and we're giving them away for free. To the fact that somebody can be sick and to have a 24-hour nurse, that is valuable. That should be given to somebody that is devoted to you, to say, I'm ready to just pick you and only you. To be able to comfort somebody and be there at a drop of a hat. You know, that it's given to somebody that wants to commit to you. Like, you have so many things that you just think that, they're nothing. But no, they mean something. That's why you're in a relationship, because you give them something that they want. But you also have to understand your value. You also have to understand that everything that kind of you have, it's important and it means something and it's special and you're special. Kind of like what he was saying. And somebody's going to come along that is going to kind of like, like earn it, or not earn it, but yeah, is it? I don't know.
Yeah, you can say that. They're going to see the value in you.
Yeah. So, but anyways, love you guys. Have a good night, and we will, subscribe so that way you can see the next questions. We got questions like how to end a fight, how to say you're sorry, we're not gonna talk about them right now, but I'm just like telling you so that way you can kind of keep an eye out. How to talk to your husband when you haven't talked to him for 3 days because you're upset. What's some other ones?
How to be husband and wife, or I guess, husband and wife again.
After babies.
After a baby, yeah. Yeah,
after babies. And then some other ones. But stay tuned. All right? Bye, guys. All right. That was a wrap. It was nice to have you guys join us. Join us for the next Q&As. I hope that you guys come back. If you guys want to hear or get an alert for the next Q&A, just subscribe and you will get a ring. If you have a question of your own, feel free to just put the question down below in the comments and we will keep an eye out for them. Bye, guys.